Hey everybody, welcome back to Gun Tote Minnesotan. Today we're taking a look at a pair of 8X binoculars sent out to the channel by Vanguard. These are their VO HD2 binoculars with Hoya glass. I have a few of the specs that I want to run you through and talk about and maybe make some comparisons. Hang on tight until the very end of the video because I want to tell you about some of the other Vanguard products that I've had a chance to review, such as tripods and other glass. So if it turns out this 8X isn't exactly what you're looking for, like I said, hang on tight because I have some other products I want you to take a look at that might be in the vein of what you're looking for. But in the time being, I'm going to do an overview, I'm going to tell you about this product, and then eventually I will get to some of these other products that you're seeing right here. Welcome back to Gun Tote Minnesotan. Today, we're taking a look at a product sent out to the channel by Vanguard Outdoors. These are their VO HD2s. These particular ones have a new carbon composite material, and it's got some awesome features. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. So on the back, they're advertising that it does have Hoya ED glass. Okay, that's excellent. I'm very glad to see that they have upgraded glass to that level. That's going to help with image quality quite a bit. Waterproof and fog proof. They're lightweight carbon, as I mentioned before. They do have a right diopter ring. It's locking, and that's what that indicator means right there. Tripod mountable. 3-stage eye cups. Okay, so you have 1, 2, 3 as you twist out. Outstanding near focus, so it's going to be excellent for birding and critter catching, something like that, and a large field of view. Of course, they absolutely do have a large field of view. One thing I should not miss is that Vanguard has been around for 30 plus years at this point, and so if you haven't heard of them, I don't know if you've been living under a rock, but check them out on some of the social media here. They have lots of content that's worth seeing. Depending on your usage, you might prefer the 8 buys or the 10 buys. And so I just wanted to put this here. It's on the box just so you can get an idea of what the differences would be between an 8 buy and a 10 buy. That'll help you with your purchasing decision because you are going to want a pair of these when we're done. All right, let's open it up and see what's inside. So obviously inside you're going to get your Vanguard user manual. This packet is helpful, especially if you've never used a diopter like this before. That might be something that's just necessary for you to go ahead and read. And then you're also going to get your lens cloth and a couple other things in there. That's useful. Nice little extra in the bag. It does come with an excellent neoprene bag, very well padded, protective, so that it's going to be in good condition. It's not going to get scuffed up. And if you did have something terrible happen, like a bag knock over, it's extremely windy today, and actually my bag that had these in them did knock over, and I was very grateful that on that hard ground it was in this case protected. So inside, throw that back on, there's your binoculars, and there's the strap. And I really like that they throw in the strap. They don't nickel and dime you and make you pay for all the other small extras. If you can see inside the bag there's a partition separation there, so you can put your strap back there, or maybe your manual lens cloth. That's what I would keep back there. And then your binoculars, there's a generous space there. It's enough that I can actually additionally fit a nose piece on there, or a tripod mount, an adapter. Of course, the bag itself comes with a strap, so if you wanted to neck carry that and keep it protected, that's convenient enough, or loop it around your tripod or something. And like I said, very, very well padded. Exceptionally well padded. Really good zippers on all of their products. They do a great job at Vanguard making sure you're getting something that's going to work for a long time. And you have your belt loop here. Looks like it'll fit my 1.5 inch belt just fine. And then at the corners, if you wanted to, you could actually rig this up. You could strap this case itself up, which I've shown in other videos with some of the other Vanguard binoculars. So here they are. Really nice looking pair of binoculars. Pretty decent bridge there. You can actually probably have a quite narrow face and make these work well. Much more narrow than my eyes are, but you also could be, fairly wide. With that, it's going to work for most people, is what I'm saying. I don't think there's many people who would be outside the boundaries or outside the abilities of this pair of binoculars. Just taking a look at a couple of the features here, you can see that they do have protectors over those eye cups and lenses, and these are 3 position. So what that looks like is, go down to the bottom here, 0, 1, 2, and there's 3. Both of the cups have 1, 2, 3 positions, and you can feel them. They're tactile. If that's an issue for you, you know that this is going to work just fine. That's lots of range of travel, probably more than anybody's going to need. All right, let's take a look at that diopter setting. Now, I really like the way that they set this up. It is very simple. It's easy to use. It's simply a lift to operate diopter. So when I lift it, then I can move this. It will not move because it's a locking diopter. It is on the right side. Okay, it's the right tube here. And these barrels, by the way, the barrels are coated really well. I like this texture, this coating on here. Feels just grippy enough, and it's going to shed the elements. So great job with that. But anyways, this right here is locking and unlocking the diopter adjustment. And here's your focus. Very, very smooth focus wheel. Again, these have the capability to do extreme near focusing. So if you're doing birding, or maybe you're pairing it with the digiscoping kit, and you want to get a nice clean image, you'll be able to focus down very, very close and get pictures of birds. Extremely smooth, rubberized. It's a good quality feel. And I would say tactfully done with the branding and information there. Here's the other end of the barrels. You can see that both lenses are covered, but these are easily removed if you need them to come off, if they're just in the way or it's windy, like today is very windy. I'll probably be just removing those all together and taking those lids off. This is for your tripod adapter, and I'm going to show you that now. So what I have here is the VO PH20. I'm going to put the binos on this head. Just makes a lot of sense because it has a spotting handle on here, or at least something that's conducive for spotting. And then I have the Vanguard tripod adapter here for binos, which has the 1/4 inch thread up top. And I'll be able to throw my binos in here and quickly mount them. On your binos, right up here, you have a small dial. Once you get that started, just go ahead and remove that. That's going to thread out, and then that is where I'm going to thread into. So I can grab the handle here. Now that I've got this threaded in, it's set up, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to actually adjust the diopter for my eye and the cups if need be. I appreciate the Vanguard combo bundles, and this tripod actually has been very useful. I like having an extendable neck, center column, they call it, on a tripod, because it allows me to do all my adjustment here. So I'm going to look at something that's 122 yards away. I already got it with my laser rangefinder, so I know how far away I am, and I'm going to set my diopter, that right barrel, to this distance. So first, I'm not even going to use my left eye, I'm just going to use my right eye, adjusting this one. So I'm going to move that back and forth until I think it's pretty darn clear. And then I'm going to lock it. So I pressed it down, I locked it. Now it's going to stay put even if I mess with the standoff here. That's going to stay put. That's a nice thing. Some of them, they're almost intertwined, or you grab onto one and it might move, or they're just too loose. That's something that you could have with some kinds of binoculars, I suppose. And now I'm going to center up and one more time adjust that center column. Excellent. Wow. Field of view is massive, of course, with 8x binoculars. And depth of field, I'm right off the bat, I'm looking at something that's 40 yards away as well as 120, 140. So I've got a few different things here I know I'm looking at, and I am surprised that there's as much clarity and detail at those different intervals, because parallax in general, you know, is more and more apparent or matters more the closer you are. And I'm just seeing things that are sort of close and a little further away are still pretty well in focus. And, you know, I had tried some other binoculars out a while ago, not from Vanguard, from another company, and I realized I think they were out of collimation, and it was really frustrating to work with them. These, so far, looking at these different distances, there's nothing that's immediately poking me in the eye. There's nothing that's right away apparent that there would be an issue. I really like the image. I've got, you know, quite a few colors to look at down here, so the colors are just popping. They're really popping. Sharpness is looking pretty good, actually. Yeah, I'm really excited to try these out some more, but so far it's looking pretty good. Looks like I set the diopter properly for my eye. Now let's use it at a little further distance, and then maybe some closer distances too. So one thing that I really appreciate about these is I feel like the eye relief is very generous. It's an 8X, so I hope it's generous, but it's right where I want it to be. I don't feel like I have to fight the glass to find a comfortable spot to get my eyes in there. I just kind of put them up, and it just seems really easy to get behind. That for an 8X is a must. I have to have the ability to get them up and, you know, have my standoff already set and all that. If I'm hunting, or for you birders out there or spotters in general, you know, you don't want to be fighting them trying to find out where's the comfortable spot or what's the window that I can look through. I just feel like I can put these up to my eyes and right away get to work. You know what? I changed my mind. I probably am going to put the neck lanyard on here because of how easy these are to get behind. I'll probably be taking these with me quite a bit. It's between this and the 10X monocular that they sell. The monocular is also extremely easy to get behind, especially because it's one eye. I can go up with one eye with my monocular from Vanguard, and it's a 10X, but having 8X and then having the huge field of view and having both eyes working for me, it grants me a lot of detail. So there is an advantage. Absolutely, there's an advantage to having binoculars. 2 barrels to look through is better than 1 when it comes to detail, and field of view is just enormous. But man, these are really easy to get behind. So it's probably kind of funny that I'm wearing overalls, but actually with the wind chill, it was below 0 this morning, and it's still quite cold right now. The sun is out, looks nice, but it's chilly. A cool thing I found is that this fits in my kangaroo pocket really easily too, which is awesome. So I can store those in there. And the nice thing about binoculars is, especially if you're wearing the chest strap, the harness that Vanguard also sells, or one of their other accessories, if you're wearing something like that, you go hands-free really quickly. And the stability factor with 8X is very, very high. I'm not fighting these. Like I said before, they're easy to get behind, and it's just stable. When I'm looking with my hands, because it's only 8 power, you know, it's not like 15 power or something, it's just very easy for me to get these up and then stabilize and see exactly what I was looking for. Stability factor is very, very high. They're very packable too. These aren't huge. You know, that's the convenience of an 8X, is they'll fit in a bag or in my kangaroo pocket really well, and I can go hands-free quickly and do other things. Hunting, this would be a particularly useful attribute. I think I will throw those that neck lanyard on now after just using it a little bit more. Well, I've got myself set up pretty good here at, I'm going to have to range find the distance in a moment, but it's probably something like 65, 70 yards. With the target over there, I'm going to do some tripod shooting, but I'm going to use my binos just to show you that 8 power is easily enough for spotting like this, especially the application of NRL 22. I'm going to be shooting a 22 on steel. It's a thick piece of steel, so to see it move, you're going to need some good clarity and good lenses and a little bit of light, hopefully. And the sun is going down maybe another hour. So that's about where the sunlight is at. It's kind of coming from this angle. And I'm going to set up my binos here. Let's see. I'm going to set up my binos on the ARCA converter, here the adapter, I should say, from Vanguard. I'm going to face it towards that target, so maybe I'll record a little bit with this camera, but you'll be seeing some downrange footage too of about that 65 yards, something like that. I'll annotate that here in a moment. All right, I've got my target set up. Binos are over here. You might not be able to see them because of the rifle very well. And I've got my digiscoping kit on there. I'm actually going to use a little digital zoom on that just for fun. That's the advantage of using the digiscoping kit, is you can maximize, you can take the 8X, which is great for almost everything, and then you can add to it. If you have a decent phone and a decent camera, you can improve your image, or at least magnify your image a little bit more. And that's what I'm going to attempt to do here. I'll take a few shots. We'll just see where these land. Okay, so just in case you're curious about what's beyond my target here, it's good to know your target, what's before your target, what's beyond your target, capabilities around gun safety and all that. Right now, that red barn is 600 yards away from where I'm at. I have a berm there, and I'm going to be shooting low on the berm, and then I have a stump that's 12 inches or 14 inches above that, and I'm shooting subsonics. So although for you, you might see that red barn way in the background and think, oh, that's potentially a hazard, it's actually not. I've gone through quite a bit of trouble to make sure this is safe. The only thing you can't see is that there's a huge valley between that field and that stump right there that you're seeing. It's actually quite safe. Just want to reassure everyone that I'm doing everything I can just to be reasonable and safe. But here we go. Let's take a couple shots off the tripod. There's an impact. There's an impact. Yeah, those are easy impacts. I'm going to turn my microphone off just so that you can hear those impacts a little bit better. There's 10. Hopefully you could tell that I've set up in a pretty interesting spot right here. I'm kind of on a hillside off the tripod, and I'm filming into a dark area. So typically you don't try to film into a dark area or shoot into a dark area, but that's a great way to test the light collection and the contrast. The ability to make out the target is when it doesn't have a bunch of sunlight on it, when it's in the shadow. That's a really good time to test an optics capability, and I could easily tell through my optic and through the scope footage. You could also see with the digiscoping kit, with the binoculars, you could definitely make out those impacts and see it hopping and moving, and perhaps even which impact was which. It's a dark spot. I'm going to turn this off and throw a few down there. So I was actually impacting a little high. Looks like my data was just a touch high initially, which is good. It's closer to some of the other ammo that I shoot. Very thankful that it's pretty much right there. Minor adjustments when I throw the can on. About a 1/2 mil, and it's consistent, which is great. Obviously the image from this is doing just fine. I can see those impacts on there. Even if I back it off to a more true 1x, yep, I can tell. I can see with just 8x, that's enough to see those impacts at about 86 yards is what we're looking at right now. Here's a birdhouse at about 8 yards away. Obviously I'm very, very close, but I wanted to show you that it has a very near focusing capability. Extremely good image. I can see the detail in the woodwork. With my eye, it's going to look a little closer to this. I can see the grains and the fibers really clearly. Man, the phone will just never do it justice. I guess that's the problem with using a phone for this, but at the end of the day, I'm telling you, with the eye, it looks great. All right, I'm looking at just some white, what are these, swans? I'm not super informed with birds, but I think they're either white geese or swans. And they're about 70 yards away from me, kind of making their way my direction right now. The sun has officially gone down, so we're like 1 minute past. Right now, I'm seeing a pretty decent amount of light collection. The way I've got my binocular set up right now, I can actually look through with my eye as well as using the digiscoping kit. And it's just crystal clear. I can make out every little detail on their bill. 8x is easily enough to see the feathers. I can distinguish some feathers on their backside there, wing partitions, head shape. Lots of detail on those guys. And now I've got some really good detail on these swans. They're only about 35 yards away. Nice image. I'm technically filming a little bit towards the sun, direction of the sun. I'll just show you. So the sun had gone down over here, just below those trees. Let's go ahead and focus on those trees and see what I can do. That's a pretty sky, pretty sunset. Taking a look at our local radio station. That's about 200 yards, maybe 185 from where I'm standing right now. With the sun basically down, filming in the direction of the sunset. Mind you, that doesn't help things. Typically I would want to be filming the other way, but I can still get a decent amount of detail. I'm not really getting blasted out with the image. Things are not smearing together, it's not smudging. At about 200 yards, still an excellent amount of detail. So I'll say right now, as far as light collection goes, with my eye, it is immensely better than what I'm seeing with my camera, my phone. When I look through with my eye right now, I am amazed. I could see wood ticks on this thing if it had some. We're at about 15 yards from where I'm standing right now. That's pretty cool. These guys are trumpeting at me a little bit. Now my phone is focused right now on the left bird. The periphery is going to be slightly out of focus just because of the nature of phones and how the focus works. Awesome amount of detail. Let's use a little digital zoom. My phone. That's still pretty decent, but that image right there that you're seeing is not nearly as good as what I'm seeing with my own eye. So here's 8x at 1,029 yards up to that yellow silhouette there. As you can tell, there's actually a really incredible, generous field of view. I can see all 20 lanes of fire there. I wouldn't be spotting impacts on paper at this distance, of course, unless there were target markers on the paper. Then I could use my phone probably to bump up magnification a little bit. I do have some paper above 19 there, and with the target indicators, the hit markers that we use on the paper themselves, yeah, I could probably pick those out, but it would be a little more fight than I would need. I would probably just up to a 10x or 12x at that point, and Vanguard has 10x models available. Now, for the steel itself, that's where I could see impacts the best. In fact, I'm going to show you in a moment some impacts there, and even the clays that are on the hill, I can make out a decent amount of detail, and I do believe that 8x is enough to spot when you're using a medium like that kind of muddy dirt in the background. I can see enough of that cloud up or splash into that dirt where I don't need much more than 8x when you're using centerfire calibers like 308 or 300 PRC. 223 is a little bit dull at this distance. It doesn't create much splash, and so I might want a 10x at that point. But 8x can get it done. In fact, I was just shooting with a 1:10 optic a little while ago, and it was enough to see most of my misses in the target bay there where those clays are. The pit where the splash is actually happening, there's enough dirt there. I lose it in the vegetation at that magnification at that distance, but that makes a lot of sense because you're looking at basically no movement and only 8 or 10 power. That's just not enough for such a small bullet to be flying into. You would need more disruption to see. So let's go ahead and throw a few rounds here at the yellow silhouette, and you will be able to see those impacts even at 1,029 yards. I've got some clays above 17. I think I'll do a couple shots on the clays and a few shots on the silhouette. .330 yards. Or 330 yards using the BCA 10 308. So spotting there at a little past 325 yards or so, they were excellent. Excellent image, and I have to say that with binoculars, from years ago, I have changed my opinion. I was much more interested in just spotting scopes or monoculars, but binoculars bring a lot of versatility, wider field of view, generally, especially in HD glass like this Hoya glass, they bring more detail because I can use both eyes. So I'm a fan. Binoculars are not boring, they're useful. But if those binoculars, if the 8X aren't exactly what you're looking for, Vanguard has a spotter that I can definitely recommend. I've only tried one so far. It's the one on the far left. They have a 10X pair of binoculars. That might be more in line with what you're looking for. Slightly different diopter adjustment on that. Or monocular, if you are a fan of a lightweight, low footprint system, that monocular right there is a 10X from Vanguard, which I'm reviewing very shortly. All recommended.